found myself dancing then.
I was jigging. I was trying to remember how long the intro went for before, because last time we just started. So I was pacing myself.
I know. I just found my legs were going because I'm like, honest to God, like I'm like Kermit the Frog sat on this chair. My feet don't even touch the floor. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. All right, mate. Listen, welcome to a second edition of the World Cup Wednesday, brought to you by EPL Across the Pond, hosted by me, Gary, and my compatriot Chris. How's it going? What have you got on there? I'm trying to stand up. I've gone because it's World Cup. I've gone for the shirts as well, but I've also got me Zidane top on.
I was going to say, don't say who it is, and we can have a competition.
Mate, honestly, it could be the way it used to fit me a little bit better. I look like Frank Sidebottom now. It's not even Zidane anymore. Like, if anyone wants to look up Frank Sidebottom, the non-English people who are watching,
you just say when in the wash. You had a bad wash.
Mate, it's had a few bad washes, and my face could do with an iron, if I'm honest.
How are you, Gary?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. We're going. What are we going this week? We're going Qatar 22.
Qatar 22. So we're rolling it back 4 years to the last World Cup. Chatting all about the good stuff and the bad stuff from that tournament. Yeah.
We're trying to keep it a little bit somewhat current, so maybe we can get a few more people involved. And speaking of getting involved, if you have any comments or any idea or any suggestions, or you want to go against anything we say, stick it in the comments and we'll add it to the conversation. It just makes things a little bit spicier for everybody, doesn't it?
Yeah, we're just two middle-aged men just having a chat about football, and some are wearing baggy shirts and some are wearing tight shirts. It's just
what have you gone for another England shirt? An
all blacked out retro 1990 kit. Probably my favorite World Cup, probably yours as well, and we'll get that one in a couple of weeks. But I'm excited to talk about Italian 90, man. I really am.
Mate, I know. I told you it's going to be a three-parter. That one. It's going to be a three-parter. All right, so we'll go into the last World Cup. Where did you watch it?
I was actually in the UK for it. The tragedy had to go back, and unfortunately, my father passed away that year. So I was actually back in England at my mum's house for it. First World Cup in the Middle East and first Winter World Cup. So it was, you never think when you go back to England for Christmas and whatnot that you'd be sat at home enjoying a World Cup scenario. So it's pretty cool and different from that. What about yourself?
I watched it. I was here, but I can remember watching
New Jersey for the new listeners.
I was in New Jersey, yeah. Mate, you are basically on top of that microphone there,
On top of it. I'll sit back up now. There we go.
Yeah, it's like Mark and Lad. But I watched it in Jersey, and then I remember watching the quarterfinal. Did we get stuffed in the quarterfinal?
Yeah, France.
I remember watching that in Nashville. So we went on a trip to Nashville, and I remember, ironically enough, bumbling into a German bar with all our suitcases, and we all had cowboy hats on. And there's nothing worse than a group of middle-aged men watching England get beat in the World Cup, sat there miserable with cowboy hats on. If you can imagine that scene, it was tragic.
Is there any documentation or any memorabilia from that day? Do you still have that?
No, the hat fell. Actually, like when you're trying to, bit of a jackal lad I think the hat got left on a bar and then someone took it. We thought it'd be funny, and then I never saw it again. It was, to be honest with you, it did me a favor.
Any photographic evidence that we could dig up?
I'll find some. Find some and stick it on the socials. Yeah, no probs. No, yeah. So. But yeah, the winter was a weird one, wasn't it? Because with it coming straight in the middle of the season, there was a break. I'd say it started up around the beginning of December, end of November.
Yeah,
and the Premier League season
break,
just sent a stop. And then it was a couple of weeks break, and then we were into the World Cup.
Yeah, it's a different setup. I mean, I'm sure they'll look at doing that option again for certain tournaments going forward and stuff. But like you say, we're always used to the Premier League season finishing, climax or anti-climax, whatever it is. Then it's the build-up for the World Cup that we're used to, who's going, who's not going. There's normally a couple of games after the season finishes before the squads get announced. Then people get on the plane and they go. With this tournament, it was just going straight into it pretty much. So it didn't feel like there was a gap or, any kind of build-up to it. It was like a start and a stop kind of thing, which was, it was a weird thing to do. But like anything, it's the first time you're doing something. It's going to be a bit different. But what a tournament it was, in my opinion.
But again, we said this before we came on air, didn't we? Any tournament anytime a World Cup's on, I just like getting, and it's a bit of a shame this year because it is going to be later in the day, but I really enjoy getting up in the morning and a game being on. And we'll get to some of the games in a bit, but just, you get on, you put it on, you have a cup of tea, and there's a match on in the morning, and you can just sit there and watch it. And it was I enjoy that. I enjoy that.
I enjoy the fact that there's 2 or 3 games on it a day. I think there's sometimes a morning game, especially at the weekends, a midday game, and an evening or a nighttime game. And I like that kind of thing because it gives you the options. Like you say, you discover games that you weren't going to watch. That, like you say, you wake up, you have your brew in a cup of tea in the morning, bit of toast and something, and next thing you know, you're watching a game, and then before you know it, you're looking to see when that team plays again. And it could be 3 or 4 days later. And then next thing you know, that's your team and you're following them as well.
You're on mute again. Sorry, mate.
That's okay.
No, it's like that's the thing, innit? Like you find yourself supporting like Cameroon or Japan or, and you pick it. And then all of a sudden there's players playing for countries that you just don't realize play for a country. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, I'll watch that. Out with the usual, like obviously Sadio Mane's at Senegal, so you would watch that as a Liverpool fan. I would watch that,
right?
But I really did. I really enjoyed it. The one thing that was crazy to me, and I don't know if you remember this, like this was the first World Cup where they've had the remit to say, right, keep a track on the injury time. Because I can remember that one of the first games they put up 10 minutes of injury time at the end of the first half, not even at the end of the second half. And I think the average, what did I say before? The average added time at the end of the halves or the end in a total game was 11.6 to 12 minutes average. Compared to the last World Cup in Russia was 7 minutes, the average. And it was almost as if like, right, lads, it was almost like basketball where the ball would go out of play, bosh, stop the clock. Oh, something else happened, bosh, stop the clock. And then all of a sudden it was just constant.
That seems to be the knock-off effect since VAR has come into play in the Premier League and whatnot. We're seeing extra time that's just ridiculous. It really is ridiculous because you've got to start thinking about fatigue and players and injuries and all that kind of side of things. And have you seen a Premier League game now that's not gone into 100 minutes? That doesn't go into 100 minutes at the end of the game? Every single one.
It set a precedent, didn't it? And I think now as well, like it was the first time they'd used the automated offside as well. Which, I mean, again, we're not trying to get to it. We'll probably get tomorrow in tomorrow's EPL Thursday preview. But you only have to look at the automated offside for Liverpool's second goal on Sunday. And, there's questions around it, right? I mean, we'll get to it tomorrow, mate. I don't want to upset you straight away.
No. It's more like it's like a dodgy CGI graphic that they're putting up on the screens now. And it's like, is that real or do they just kind of like putting some up to make it up, a kind of thing? But listen, I said it before and I'll say it a few times. And if anyone from UEFA or FIFA is listening, here's how you fix all this extra time rule. You look at what rugby did, and rugby officials now, the referees, have the ability to start and stop the clock whenever they want. If there's a serious injury, a delay in game, they can physically stop the clock. Maybe that's something that we explore with football as well. There's certain things, throw-ins, corners, you can let things go for, but if there's going to be an injury that's serious and you've got to get the stretcher on, there's got to be, a severe delay of time. Why can't we just stop the clock?
Yeah.
Then it's the guessing thing and the frustrating thing of, well, there's 7 minutes, but we played 10 minutes. Yeah.
All right, this is not a VAR show, so we're not going to go into that. But what we will do, we're going to carry on from last week because I feel like this picked up and we did get a few little nibbles in the comments as well. So before every topic we talk about, we're going to throw a question out there. So the first question of the day, which European giant was eliminated in the group stage for the second consecutive World Cup? I think this is an easy one.
Right.
I'm sure people will get it. But again, it's a little bit of a soft opener because there are some more difficult ones as we go. So if you want,
I'll give you a clue.
No, there's no clues now.
It's not Italy.
Yeah, they didn't even get there for the consecutive time. So yeah, you're right on that one. But if you know the answer, pop it in the comments, and then we'll see if we can get someone in there who gets there first. But first topic I had was the location of it. Now, you used to live in the Middle East, didn't you? So you have an idea of the sort of the lay of the land. I've never been out there, so I wouldn't have known. But it was the first time that there was almost like a single city, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
everything was based in Doha, pretty much.
First World Cup based in the Middle East. And I think when, the vote, we call them votes or whatever you want to look at, from FIFA, and they decided to select Qatar as the World Cup host, obviously that was on their minds, right? It's like, we want to spread the tournament to the Middle East. Soccer in Saudi's been going great, in Dubai and whatnot, but let's look at other options as well. So I used to live in Dubai. I lived in Dubai for just under 2 years. Part of my job when I was out there, I used to go to Doha probably once a month. And at the time, this was 2010, 2011, Doha was still being really built out. And there really wasn't much there. It's a very, very small city in terms of geographically wise, from the size of the city, from the square mileage point of view. And later when I left and I found out they were going to put a World Cup there, and I'm like, okay, where else in Qatar are they going to do it? Because there's not really enough space within the country to put everything. And one of the stats that we got from all that was from a geographical point of view is all 8 stadiums were in a 35-mile radius. And I think the idea from that was FIFA's idea was fans have the ability to go to multiple games in one day. So it was almost like, some kind of weird Clapham Common type pitches, or next to you could just bounce from one game to the other, which, it puts in for a fan experience. It puts it in for, if you go in there, you could probably stay in one hotel and go to as many games as possible without having to worry about relocating to another city and stuff. So something that had never been done before, then they tried. And, we weren't there. I know we know a few people that were at that tournament. From a fan's point of view, from looking on the outside looking in, I think it went pretty well. I think it worked pretty well to that aspect. My only take and concern was after the circus left town, what happened with those stadiums and what happened with the actual game from a grassroots point of view.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it now. I know the U17 World Cup was there last year, and obviously being involved in US soccer myself and knowing people that were there, knowing players that were there as well, it was definitely a similar sort of feel. Like it would be like going to a youth soccer tournament where you've got 20 pitches, a couple of little mini stadiums, but the majority of the games were played on in the same location, basically.
Right.
And I think, I just don't know. Like, I like the idea of that and I understand why they did it. But at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, like, take this year, for example. All right, maybe at the moment, Mexico might not be the place that you really want to go, given what's going on down there. But at the same time, the thought of going to different places in different countries, right, and you think of like Germany, and even for the smaller thing, for the Euros, if it hadn't got cancelled in 2020, it was all over Europe. And me and my wife had tickets for Munich, and then we had tickets for Bilbao, and we were going to go to these different cities. And Qatar, I suppose, just doesn't have that. So you just wonder, like, especially when you consider that it was going up against, was it Australia it was going up against?
I think it was Australia, yeah, which in my opinion, the A-League goes from strength to strength. They get great support. They get great fans. It's spread all across Australia. So to your point, if you go into a tournament from a fan's point of view, is you're getting different cultures and different experiences when you go to different cities. Like, I've been to Australia. Sydney's completely different from Melbourne, which is completely different from Perth, completely different from Auckland. Likewise, if you're talking about even in the US this year, you're going to get a different vibe as if you're going to games in Miami than you are in Boston, than you are in Kansas City. So you get that different cultural experience, as opposed to Hackney Marshes was the kind of the concept I was thinking of, where you just literally, you're looking at one ground over here, you turn it around and the stadium's next to it. It's the same food, it's the same people, it's the same culture and the same environment. So, and I think that takes away from what we've traditionally had from a traditional World Cup, even when it's in England. If you do a tournament in England's so tiny and small and compact, but each city could be pretty much like a different country within itself. Manchester, Liverpool's 20 odd miles, but they're completely different cities. And you get a different experience if you go into Anfield as if you go to Old Trafford. And I think that's what was lost, I think, in this tournament, because you could watch it on the TV. All the stadiums are kind of, they look very futuristic and very cool and everything, but they're pretty much in the same city, and it's the same out of ground experience.
Yeah, no, true. I mean, don't get me wrong, like you've said, and the funny thing is we sound very negative when we're talking about it. No. In the same breath, we'll say it was a fantastic thing to watch on the telly. Like, the spectacle of it was great. So, I mean, again, and I said the same thing about this year. Everything that's going on around this World Cup this year, I think the same thing. It's going to be fantastic because, again, it's loads of footy on the telly, right, which is what we all want, isn't it? The reality of it anyway. But we'll move past that, because I want to get to the fan experience and I want to get to the kits, because I love kits and all that. But before we do, I'm going to go with the answer to the question. The question was, which European giant was eliminated in the group stage for the second consecutive World Cup? No one fired into the comments, which is disappointing, but maybe on the next question he will. What was your guess for that?
Oh, Deutschland.
You would be right, mate. You would be right. And we're gonna get to one of those as well. Something about that as well when we get to some of the games of the tournament. All right. So before we start the next bit, which is the kits, and it is a fan experience. I'll give you this next question. The next question is, who scored the fastest goal of the 2022 tournament? Now, I think this is difficult. Now, if you've watched it and you're a purist and you love the World Cup, and we do, I still wouldn't have got this one. So
it's usually someone from a country you've never heard of and a player you've never heard from. That's kind of like some weird scrambling goal from the kickoff. So I couldn't tell you, mate. I honestly couldn't tell you.
I think the clue I have for it, like you've just said, then it's usually a random person from a random country. This one, it's a name, someone you would know. I think someone you would know, but we'll see how it goes. Once we get to the end of this little topic, we'll go. So the question is, who scored the fastest goal of the 2022 tournament? If you have an idea, blast it in the comments and we'll go from there. All right. So kits, ready for this one? I love this. This is it. I know. I found this banner. This is going to test my technology skills. But we'll see what happens. This sticks us in the corner. And then I circled my kits that I thought were boss. But these are the majority of the kits from the last World Cup. All right.
There we go.
So these are the ones I circled. I circled Brazil, France, Spain's away kit, Mexico's away kit, and Ghana. I love the star. And to be fair, I've got that one up here as well. So I've got the Ghana one and the Mexico one there. But I know people are going to go for the Argentina, the classic with the stripes.
That Wales away one was pretty naughty next to the Brazil kit.
Oh, this white one here.
The Wales away one was nice. The US kit's not bad, to be honest, as far as US kits go and whatnot. But you know what, Gazzy, you mentioned the kits and everything. It's like one of the things that even when we were kids, you know, you get your Match magazine or your Shoot magazine, see the new kits at the start of the season. Wasn't that exciting, whether it was your team or whether it was other teams in the league and everything? It's for me, it's part of the tournament is the kits, seeing the new kits that are released for the tournaments and whatnot, and watching the fans buy them, whether you're buying them yourself and everything. And there's some belter kits from this tournament. There really was.
Yeah, I think so as well. The Holland one wasn't bad. The away kit was good. You can't really see it on here. Obviously I can't move the mouse. So it's like a blue away kit with the orange and the the orange and I don't know what the other color was in the back. I think it was a little bit of dark blue, navy blue in there as well. It was lovely. But again, if anyone's got a kit that they loved in there, just bash it in the comments. But again, the Mexico one for me was probably
I'd probably go France. Probably go France because they went for that slightly darker blue than they were used to and whatnot. And it looked like one of those 1920s, 1930s kind of throwback kits.
Yeah, that's true. And to be honest, you can just see the England kit in the corner behind, just next to me now on that side. And I wasn't a massive fan of it. I wasn't a massive fan of that kit.
No, I didn't like it. Like it.
Yeah, I know.
Nor did the players by the end of it.
I know. That was one thing. Like the only you just remember certain players and certain kits, don't you? Like clearly you'll remember Messi and clearly you remember Mbappe.
They do that always thing online, isn't it? What's the first player that comes to mind when you see this kit or that kit? Yeah. And I think when you see that blue kit, to me it's either Harry Kane or Kyle Walker. I can't get past those two in it.
I just remember Jack Grealish. Remember Jack Grealish did the thing where he kind of did the dance. He had that. It's pretty viral clip where, because his sister has a physical disability and he met this kid before he went, and the kid said, "If you score, can you do this dance for me?" And he did score and he did it. Like I think that's why I remember that kit more than any of the others. But I can't get past the Mexico one. That's why I've got it on the wall here behind me. But as far as fan experiences, it's my fault as well because I chased people down a little bit too late. But a good friend of ours, Sal, he went as a US fan, and we'll get him on one of these weeks because he's bonkers about the US. And he basically sent me. It's a shame I can't put it on the screen, but he basically sent me like a novel of his experiences in Qatar. It reads like Adrian Mole's diary. I know this is another English thing, but it's like the diary of Adrian Mole. But okay, so this is what it is. I'll go through it for you.
Yeah.
I can't do it in an American accent, but I'll try and do it. No. Okay. Really incredible experience. The weather was perfect. 80s or 90 degrees in the day, but no humidity, so it was easy to manage. Getting around was really easy. Had a transit system that went to almost every stadium, which, to be fair, sounds quite good, doesn't it? There's nothing worse than getting stuck on the, walk into places. Buses and Ubers if you needed them. Safety was never a concern. This is an interesting one for me. He said you couldn't get in the country if you didn't have a ticket.
Right, I remember that.
So your visa, whatever visa was to get in the country, was tied to your ticket. So if you didn't have a ticket, you couldn't get in the country, which I think they did in 2018 as well in Russia. I think that was a difficult one.
Yeah,
But the knock-on effect, he said, the knock-on effect of it was there was no fan zones. So, there was no viewing parties. There was no people there without tickets that just wanted to go.
Right.
And that's part of the fun, is it? Man, I have never been to a World Cup, but I remember going to the Champions League final in Paris, and there's tons of Liverpool fans that don't have tickets. Loads of people just went and were in the fan zone all day and enjoying the occasion. And I think that's something that was taken away from it.
You and I talked about that, didn't you? About, this summer, we're going to go either try and spend $500-600 going to a game, or do we just go to a city and see if there's a fan zone and just, join that? And that's part of the things you want from the local experiences you get, right? If you got a fan zone in Miami, there's going to be people that go and get drunk in Wynwood and fall asleep during a game, and people take a video of it. That stuff happens. But you're not going to get that if they don't have a fan zone where the locals can go and watch it. And the locals, because then you'll get people like us that go into the fan zones and they get to mingle with the locals. They get to hang out with the locals and be like, okay, how do you think your team's getting on and whatnot? That one I went to in Miami in 2018. Yes, I was English in there, and there was some Americans, but there was Croatians, there was French, there was Germans, there was Italians, because it's, multicultural and being Miami and whatnot, and tourism. You got to hang out with different people and chat to them about what they thought their team's experiences were, and what they thought their team's chances were, and who's your favorite player, and what do you think of England, and all that kind of side of things. And that's part of the World Cup. You want that, and I think that bit was maybe stripped away from it. But it's interesting to see that they made it very clear, because there was the alcohol thing as well, if you remember.
Well, he said
alcohol.
There's more to it. I can carry on.
Keep going.
But he didn't meet. This is an interesting one. We'll get to this as well. He didn't meet a single Qatari person there, and he said they did have international hotels that had bars in them, but he saw very few drunk people. He said he did see one guy who was a Saudi, randomly enough, 2:30 in the morning, just stumbling around the streets. So God knows what happened to him. But he said everyone was in the same place. But I think you might have alluded to it then, I think the best part of having a World Cup is going to that country and meeting those people. If you think this year, I'll bring it back to this year, or any year, you want to meet the people who are in that country. What do you think about this? Ask them questions, experience the culture a little bit of a country. But I think that was stripped a little bit.
One of the biggest things I was told when I used to travel with work and whatnot was, wherever you go eat with the locals. Go drink with the locals. So if you go to Jamaica, don't necessarily go to the 5-star resorts and have a fancy steak and a nice bottle of wine. Go on the beaches where they're having a barbecue and they're drinking the red stripes and whatnot. Go and mingle with the locals. Go and get that local culture, which as tourists, that's what you want to go and take away from it, right?
It's everything, isn't it? It's everything. And he's, and with the whole thing about, he said the fan fest was terrible because there wasn't anyone there. And it wasn't really a celebration. So you couldn't get in and have a party when it was literally right, go buy a couple of programs, buy a couple of shirts, go around on the trains, go to the games, and then that's it. And he said the stadiums, hotel bars, that's pretty much what it is. I mean, again, I've never been to the Middle East.
Dubai's the same. The only places you can get alcohol is in certain bars and certain areas and whatnot, and hotels.
Yeah.
So there's no real,
He said the stadiums were great, but the food was horrific. He said, and this is a US guy in Qatar. He goes, I had a Philly cheesesteak and it was disgraceful. His words were, so bad, even the city doesn't deserve to be disrespected. Even that city, he hates Philly. Even that city doesn't deserve to be disrespected so badly.
They probably tried to cater for the Western world, though, didn't they? They probably bought vendors and...
That's exactly it. All right, we might actually talk about some actual football in a minute.
We'll get there.
All right, okay. So before we go on to the next one, the question was, before this, who scored the fastest goal of the 2022 tournament? Any idea? Any idea?
No idea.
All right. I think this is a tough one, but if people who know would know. The answer is Alphonso Davies scored for Canada against Croatia, 68 seconds.
Who won that
68
game?
seconds. It's a great question. Not sure. I'm gonna say Croatia won 2-1.
Right.
Guess.
I'm thinking that.
Absolute guesstimate. All right. Okay. Next question before we move forward. We actually are going to talk about games now. Next question. Who became France's all-time leading men's scorer during the tournament? Who became France's all-time leading men's scorer during the tournament? It's not a trick question either. It actually did happen. All right. So, do you want to go games? Games of the tournament. What were your standouts?
Standouts for me, apart from the final, I would go the Netherlands, Argentina. I think that was the quarterfinals. Croatia, Brazil, and any of the quarterfinal games for me, because you had England, France, Morocco, Portugal, which was a couple of upsets there. But yeah, the Holland, Argentina game for me. Fantastic game of football. Could have gone either way. You had a ridiculously late equalizer for Holland, which was in the, I don't know what minute of extra time, but it superseded the numbers you said earlier by a guy who scores a goal, then probably off the back of that becomes in the shot window a little bit more for a move to Old Trafford.
There was a few players like that, though, wasn't there, that got moves off the back of the World Cup? Like, I remember Gakpo got a move to Liverpool. You had Enzo Fernandez went to Chelsea.
A few teams were looking at him before the tournament, weren't they? But that was kind of, okay, now we can play at this level. Let's go in.
Let's go. I think that was one of those ones that was done as well before the transfer window started. But yeah, and even the lad who scored for Spurs in the derby, the North London derby the other day, Kolo Muani.
Muani.
He played for France in that tournament, and then he was at Eintracht Frankfurt, but then his stock just went after that tournament. But yeah, I mean, it's funny, isn't it? The games. I had a list. Go on.
Who's the Chelsea guy? Enzo.
Yeah, Enzo Fernandez, and then even João Felix got a move, didn't he? I think he might have gone to Chelsea off the back of it as well.
He's still moving around, that guy. Moving.
That poor kid's getting pushed from pillar to post, isn't he? It's unbelievable. But so I've got a list as well of games. Some of them we'll park on some of them, but some of them we'll just brush over. This is from 90minutes.com, right? They've got it says the top 10 games, but there's 11. So figure that out. One of them, Brazil 4, South Korea 1. They were 4-0 up at half time. I don't know if that's a game that you would go mental about.
You gotta look at what's the credentials for being, is it a high scoring game? Is it because certain players scored certain goals? Or, for me, it's either an end to an end game, or it's a game where the league goes backwards and forwards. It could be a last minute winner, or then a game that a team has to win to advance to the knockout stages or something like that. That's when they're all going for it. You're all guns to the wall. It's like every man's going for it because you've got to score a goal and you've got 2 minutes left or something like that.
Like, we can talk about the proper, you can talk about the 2-2, you can talk about that, but these are the ones that I like, and I know you and I disagree on this a little bit, but you've got, where is it? Cameroon 3, Serbia 3. Now, this to me is the reason why the World Cup is so good, and this is the reason why, you wake up in the morning, right? You wake up, think about this, you wake up in the morning in Qatar, so I think the games were what are they, 9? I think they were 9, 2 and 3, or 9, 12 and 3 or something like that, or 9, 11:30 and 2:30. You wake up at 9:30, like, right, what's on? You go down, have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or whatever, you get some toast and that, you sit in front of the couch and you're like, right, okay. And then you go, oh my God, it's Cameroon and Serbia. And then all of a sudden, they just blow your doors off with this 3-3 game. And you're like, this is why the World Cup is boss. This is why you watch these games in the morning, because you never know what's going to happen. There's going to be a few. We talked about it last week. There's going to be games this time round. There's been games in the past where it's like, this is unbelievable. You just got
to watch them. You just got to watch the games and see.
You never know. And like we just said then, players come out of these games.
Yeah.
Players come out of these games and get moves, and all of a sudden, you're like, I didn't realize he played for these. I didn't realize this is where he was from. South Korea 2, Ghana 3. Who's watching that? We went through games for this week, this year's tournament last week, and you're like, oh, don't fancy that. Oh,
we should start picking them apart. There's a few in there. There's a few tasty ones in there.
I know. To be fair, Germany got beat by Japan. Remember that one?
Yeah.
And that was 2 goals.
Is that late goal?
2 goals in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Japan came back from that. I don't want to do it. I don't want to butcher the names. But literally, again, it was Germany were there, done. And that's obviously they got knocked out on the back of that, but Japan coming from behind to win that in the last couple of minutes. The Netherlands game, we've got to unpack that. Listen, we're going to get to the obvious one, which was arguably the best game and has been one of the best games ever. We're going to unpack that next, but like you've got to look at that one, that Netherlands-Argentina fighting. There was late goals. It went to pens.
But you know what's great about it as well, Gary, is there's history there as well. They've had nasty games in previous tournaments and stuff. They probably don't like each other. There's nations and players and whatnot, and that's what the World Cup's all about. You want to see here we go again. We're back to the team that knocked us out of a tournament 12 years ago. Let's go and show them who's boss, kind of thing. And imagine those two pull each other out in the knockouts.
You're watching it, aren't you? It's box office, that.
Yeah.
Box office. Like, imagine, I mean, that one in a final would be brilliant as well. But again, England, and this is the best one. England-France wasn't in there.
Not really.
England-France wasn't in this. And 90 minutes. Again, if you're watching, which I'm almost certain you are, you know,
they got the question wrong. They got the last question wrong.
Yeah, explain yourself in the yeah, exactly. Explain yourself in the comments. But like that England game, England were way in that, and then Kane misses that. He missed the penalty, didn't he?
Missed the penalty, and it's one of those games. It was end to end. It was both teams went for it. England had played okay in that tournament, but I think that was the first game where I thought they played really well and they actually went for it. Prior to that, they were a little bit, defensive and cautious and whatnot. But they went for it in that game. They had a penalty where they could have pushed it further and stuff, and then ran out of time by the end of it. But great game of football.
It was, wasn't it? And then at the end of the game, the aftermath of that was me sat in Nashville in a bar with my cowboy hat on, just feeling sorry for myself.
What colour was the hat? What colour?
It was like a light grey. To be fair, I look more like Dr. Quinn, medicine woman, than I did any sort of cowboy.
Okay, I was thinking a different cowboy film, but we won't go down that road.
No, it's not that one. It wasn't sleeping in a tent.
It was more John Wayne.
Yeah, it was more like the strong, strong silent type.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
no, it was that. Yeah, but all right. Should we? The obvious game is the one we want to talk about, right? Yeah. I mean, before we get to the obvious game, the question of this little round was who became France's all-time leading men's scorer during the tournament. Did you get it?
I always forget his name. Is the guy that played for Arsenal and Chelsea? Oliver somebody. Giroud. That's the fellow.
Giroud. Yeah. Oliver Giroud. Yeah, mate, became France's all-time leading scorer. I mean, listen, we'll get to it in a sec.
Scores some great goals, though. He scores some great. He's one of those players where you don't want him in your team, but he always scores. He scored tons of goals for Chelsea, tons of goals for Arsenal, and did he go to Milan or somewhere like that and scored a ton of goals as well. So finicky player, tall, quick, good with his feet. You probably wouldn't start him if you had better choices to go with, but he's going to nick you a goal. And I think he came off the bench a lot in that tournament as well.
That's what it was. Yeah, it come from that. All right. So we're not going to talk about this. We're going to try and avoid this answer as we go through this next bit. But the question the last question of the night before we talk about the next topic, which is the final, is who scored Argentina's winning penalty in the shootout in this final? So who scored? Do you have an idea? Yeah, I know you know. I know you know.
You know as well because you did.
I did, yeah, because technically I'm the quizmaster, but I get the caveat. The caveat of is I get to look at it on Wikipedia or 90minutes.com or whatever it is. So, all right, let's talk about the final.
We should move on from 90minutes.com. We'll find it.
They're dead to me now.
If you're looking for a sponsor, you'd like to sponsor the show, we'll reach you out. We'll plug you if it's 442, old favourite of mine, or even Match Magazine or Shoot if they're still going. Let us know.
If 90 Minutes want to redeem themselves, they can get on the phone as well. Back. Yeah, exactly.
I'll have that conversation.
Yeah. All right. Here's one for you then. Was this the greatest World Cup final ever?
Oh, I've never thought of it like that before. It was the highest scoring final of all time.
It's not what I asked you.
From a neutral, probably yeah. Because I honestly wanted France to win before the game. But yeah, it had everything. It literally had everything from a game. You watch the game, and again, from a neutral's point of view, it could have gone either way. At 1 minute, you thought Argentina had it wrapped up. Then you thought France are going to have got it wrapped up. And it was almost like watching an old boxing match where it would just go backwards and forwards. Like you watch the old Ali Foreman fight. It's just both boxers just punching each other and waiting for the knockout punch to come. And yeah, great final, Gary. It really was.
Yeah, some performances in there as well. I mean, you think about all the final, and you're comparing it to, for me, you're probably comparing it to, like 2014 was a good one, albeit 1-0. Germany, Argentina went to overtime, extra time. 1970 Brazil. You're looking at that one in Mexico.
Right.
And then 1986 is the other one, isn't it? The other obvious one, the 3-2 Germany against, Argentina over Germany 3-2. But
in terms of being close, in terms of like being
just
either way,
just all around, could have gone either way, goals either end. Like, look at the way it went. Like you just said then, Mbappe basically dragged France back into it by the bootstraps, and albeit for that save by Martinez at the end, would have won it or could have won it.
How could you score a hat-trick in a final and not win it? And,
I know.
This
is another side question. First person to score a hat-trick in a World Cup final since when?
66.
Look at this guy.
66.
Yeah.
Guys, that's all we got, mate. That's all we got.
That's all we got. Isn't it? And yeah, they're writing songs about it still. It's ridiculous.
He's the last man standing is Jeff, isn't he?
He is as well, isn't he? That's true. Yeah. Yeah, so Mbappe, I mean, there's another one as well. Mbappe gets 3 goals in that final. He gets 8 goals in the tournament, wins the Golden Boot. He's now on 12 goals total in World Cup. The record is 16, which is closer for Germany. Messi's on 13. But Mbappe, you've got to think Mbappe's got what? He's 27 now, so you've got to figure what? 2 more World Cups, maybe 3.
He's a kind of player as well because he's so technically gifted. Right now, pace is his biggest attribute. When he loses the legs a little bit, he could easily go as a number 9. He could easily play, and even a number 10. He could easily fall into that 9 or 10 role. He just plays an out and out. He doesn't need to play as a wide player. So he could go for a 2, if not another 3. If you think about sports science, your Messis and your Ronaldos are still just as fit and as active as they were 10, 15 years ago. Could even be 3 in there, Gary.
Because if you think about it, he's 27, 28 this time.
Yeah.
32, and then 35, 36 at the third one. So he's got 3 more left in him. You wouldn't back against him going over 20, would you? At this point?
No. And what do we say closer was 16 World Cup goals? 16
closer, yeah. So I mean, Mbappe's got a chance. He could blast through it this tournament, to be honest. I mean, the way France are playing.
4 goals.
But yeah, so, you've got all that drama. It goes, and then all of a sudden it goes to pens. And honestly, by the end, I think everyone was glued to it, weren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, you just couldn't turn away, could you? And even the pens, was just backwards and forwards and saves and misses and it was.
Yeah, we know it now. We know Martinez is such a good goalkeeper. He won the Golden Glove and proved it in the Premier League since then. But I think before that tournament, people weren't really sure about him, were they? Because he kind of been in and out of the Arsenal team. Had he gone to Villa by then, or if he went to Villa after the tournament?
I'm not sure. I feel like he was around going.
So he'd had a few close shaves in the Premier League, but out of the 2 goalkeepers, you probably say, yeah, he was probably the better goalkeeper out of the 2. Had a phenomenal World Cup, and it was just his confidence after the semi-final game against Holland. You could see he was growing and growing. He was one of the key players in that side, and you thought when it goes to penalties, you're looking for confidence in your goalkeeper, and he was oozing confidence.
Was that the stage, right? I know there's well documented crazy goalies and all goalies are mental, but was it like a pivotal thing where he really kind of reinvented this whole gamesmanship aspect that comes from a goalie, like the way that he acted and the time wasting and the gamesmanship and just general everything. Like, do you think that he jump started it again?
Yeah, it's like you say, there'd been a gap, hadn't there? There'd been a gap between keepers of blah housery and all that kind of stuff, that the time wasting and the taunting and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, it'd been missed, and you want to see that from a keeper. You want to see the craziness of your Renier Geeters and that kind of stuff, and even the Oliver Kahns. You look at some of Oliver Kahn's reels where you go and pull people's hair and pinch them and nip them off the ball and everything. You want a bit of spite in your keeper and stuff. And
I'm trying to think. You know what? It's because Timochin's just come on there as well and give us a bit of a what up. Who was the Turkish goalie who was a bit bonkers as well?
Made his name in the Euro. Was it 2008?
Oh, who was it? He's gonna. If he's still watching it, he better put it in the comments because it's gonna do my head in. I'm gonna have to. Otherwise, I'm gonna start Wikipedia in it.
I was thinking it from the Hakansuka team.
Yeah,
I know what you mean now.
Bit of an absolute maverick as well.
They had a few nasty players. Remember the lad that went to Blackburn?
Two guy.
They had
He was excellent.
Few little players that would leave a boot in and whatnot. Because England Beckham had a run in with them as well.
This is it. Rustu
Rick first.
Yeah, maniac. Like, but that kind of, it was almost like that game.
Right.
I mean, the amount of, even at the end when he gets up, like, even at the end when he gets his glove and he like he's giving it like beans, like just sticks it on his groin straight away. And the fellas on the stage are like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
it was brilliant.
That tournament made him. It literally made him to go on and excel. And like I say, once he went to penalties, you kind of got the feeling it's like, I think Argentina. We all thought it was tailor-made for Messi to get the winning penalty, not taken away from the competition or anything, but we thought that was the answer, like a janissary as well.
He's not wrong, is he? But like he was a lunatic, wasn't he? And it was just, but again, like, talk about the World Cup and what it does for certain players. Like, Emi Martinez was like a journeyman. How many loans did he have when he was at Arsenal?
Yeah, and he never really
constantly every season he had a different club, and then all of a sudden he's like you've just said then, established goalie on the world stage.
And now he's arguably the best keeper in the Premier League. My best mate's a Villa fan, and I play it down and everything, but he's in England right now, so he's probably not watching live. But you could argue he's been the best Premier League keeper for the last couple of years. Obviously, you've got your fellow at Liverpool and the guy at City before he went off the rails a little bit. But consistently wise, Martinez is, if you're going to have him in your dream team, it's probably the guy you're going to go for. And
this is a good comment as well. I mean, to be fair, Timochin's is digging us out well tonight, right? James Rodriguez started his world tour with the World Cup and then changed 15 teams after. That's interesting as well, though, isn't it? Like, some players are just in the shop window. James Rodriguez is now playing for Minnesota United in the MLS. Right. Martinez has actually stayed, hasn't he? Like, he's 4 years at Villa now, and he's established. Like, he's been the goalie and
he's comfortable. He'll probably see his career out there. He may go back to Argentina for the last year or so of his career, but I think that's a sign with, we talk about the Premier League show and stuff. What makes a good Premier League consistent player? It's your family is settled. You like the area you live in. You like the team you're playing for. You don't need to bounce around and look for club after club after club. And I think some of the most successful Premier League players are the ones that have had that grounding. They found the club that works for them. The kids are in school, they're settled, all that kind of stuff. And it makes sense.
No, it really does. Really does. But it was one. It was the best game. The funniest thing about it, though, as well, right? And I don't know if anyone can explain. I'm sure they can. There's a cultural significance. But what was that cape all about?
I think when we look back and everything, and we talk about who's the GOAT and who's the greatest of all time, and Pele, your Maradonas, your Beckenbauers, your Bobby Charltons, that kind of side of things. In our generation, post Zidane maybe and post Maradona, it was always the Messi and Ronaldo chat. That was who's the GOAT out of the two. And me being a Manc and everything, and biased to Ronaldo a little bit, but prior to that tournament, probably easier to say that Ronaldo was the better player, had the better career, more of the GOAT. But I'll admit it, I think with Messi winning the World Cup, that put him in the cape. That got him that title.
But is that why they give him the cape when he got the trophy? Because I have no idea. Was it a cape or was it a dressing gown or what was it? It was the most random presentation. Almost as random as the Club World Cup.
He's in on it. He knows what's going on. Yeah, come on. If you're at that level and somebody puts that out to you, are you going to get involved? Are you going to wear that cowboy hat in Nashville? Are you going to go to Nashville and put a cowboy hat on?
Mate, have you ever been to Nashville? You put anything on in Nashville, I'll walk around there like an absolute tool. But
this is true.
Like, what the thing is as well, though, like it was just like the Club World Cup one this year when the president's on the stage and Cole Palmer's going, "What's he doing?"
Oh,
I just felt a little bit like that towards the end.
As well as I do, DT is going to be there in the final. And he's going to be partying. He's going to wear his long ass red tie, and he's going to be involved and all that kind of side of things. But I'll go back, Gary. Let's say this: is Messi the GOAT to you?
I mean, I've always been Maradona, but
Maradona's the best player I've ever seen.
But there's the reality, right? And look at I'll give you the facts as well for this World Cup as well. And I think, and this could be the poll for this week, and we'll put it out there. In fact, you know what? Before we do that, I'm just going to give you the answer to this because I do want to make this poll before we close it out. The last question, because we talk about this all the time, and everyone talks about Messi and Mbappe and Martinez. Who was the person that scored the winning penalty in the shootout?
Arguably Nottingham Forest's 20th worst ever left back that I've ever seen. But did he get a move to Forest off the back of that?
I don't know, actually.
I know he was only a loan. He was at Zaragoza.
You've bought everybody, so I don't even know. But the answer is Gonzalo Montiel. Listen, he was doing okay. He got himself a move, didn't he? But yeah, he scored that penalty. He'll always have that, Chris. He'll always have that.
Deadly for the penalty spot. Good penalty as well.
It wasn't a bad penalty at all. All right, then. So here's the last one then. As we'll close out. We close out on 22. Successful World Cup or not? You think? I think we're agreeing. Yeah, absolutely. It was one for the telly, but yeah, it was good. We've talked about fan experiences. We talked about everything else. Before we go, and this will go the poll. This will be the one on Instagram. Does the World Cup cement Messi as? Yeah, does it cement him as the greatest player? Because in a World Cup as well, 7 goals, 3 assists. He scored a goal in every knockout round.
Yeah.
And he basically did everything he did in the final as well.
He's now 5th on the leading all-time goal-scoring World Cup final goal scorers. He's on 13, Klose is on 16. Him and Mbappe are going to overtake Klose to this World Cup.
I just think the impact that he had, he carried that team. And that team played for him as well and got him through it.
It's similar to Maradona in 86.
Yeah.
He literally carried that team. He carried them in 1990 as well. You know, Messi's been carrying that team for a long, long time. This tournament, they had a goalkeeper that took it to another level to elevate them over the finishing line. So I can't wait for the summer, mate. I really can't. There's so many juicy points to get excited about. There's going to be some naughty kits that are coming out. It's going to be exciting.
No, it's going to be good.
Is the kit behind you? Is that 22?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one after though, because it's got I got it after because it's got the little badge on it, and it's got the 3 stars on the kit. But no, it'll be good. So we'll put that poll out on Instagram and on the socials, and hopefully people contribute. But again, we'll wrap it up next week. I think we'll spin the wheel next week. We'll have a think. We're going to go all the way back to maybe 66. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll go one of those 74. I might see if I can get a Kempes jersey. Dig that one out of the coffer somewhere. But yeah, listen. Thanks very much to everyone for listening. Chris, thanks for your time, mate. Did a good job.
How's the zoo holding up on your shirt? Is he looking all right? Is he?
Mate, I'm telling you, this shirt is so... I might have to cut this shirt off. When I got it, it fit. Just put it that way.
Okay.
All right.
I'll blame Kel in the wash.
All right. In the meantime, listen, don't forget, we've got EPL Thursday preview show tomorrow. Myself and Chris will be back in. Maybe a guest along for the ride as well. But if you can tune into that, absolutely do it. In the meantime, if you could subscribe, like us at EPL Across the Pond, that'd be brilliant. But again, another good week. Appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.